Are we really in control of our own decisions? Pause for a moment before answering, because this question does not ask for a quick response. It asks for observation. Most people feel certain about their answer. They say yes. Of course we are. After all, we choose what to eat, what to say, where to go, what to believe. And yet, if we slow down and look carefully, something strange begins to appear. What if the feeling of choosing is not the beginning of a decision, but the ending? What if the mind decides quietly and awareness arrives later to explain what has already happened? This single idea has the power to change how you see yourself. And yet, very few people ever examine it. Every single day, your life is shaped by decisions. Some are small, almost invisible. Others feel important, heavy, defining. You decide when to speak, when to remain silent, when to react, and when to hold back. You decide what feels right, what feels wrong, what feels safe, and what feels threatening. You even decide how you interpret your own thoughts. Or at least, that is how it seems. But have you ever watched a decision forming in real time? Not the outcome, not the explanation, but the very moment a direction begins to take shape. Most of the time, that moment passes unnoticed. From a very early age, we are taught a powerful idea. You are in control of your life. This belief gives us confidence. It gives us structure. It gives us a sense of ownership. Without it, life might feel chaotic, so we hold on to it tightly. When you make a choice, there is an inner sensation that says, I did this. That sensation feels convincing. It feels like proof. It feels personal, direct, undeniable. But feelings, no matter how strong, do not always tell the full story. Psychology suggests that many decisions begin outside conscious awareness. Neuroscience suggests that the brain often prepares an action before the mind becomes aware of it. Awareness does not always lead. Sometimes it follows. A preference appears. An emotion rises. A direction feels obvious. And only afterward does a thought appear saying, this is my choice. Long before modern science, careful observers noticed this. They noticed that the mind moves quickly, while awareness moves quietly. One old wise man once said softly, the mind decides, and awareness arrives to claim ownership. Inside you, this sequence unfolds again and again. Something triggers you. It could be a sound, a memory, a facial expression, a word. That trigger touches a stored experience. The experience carries emotion. The emotion creates momentum. And suddenly, a response feels natural, effortless. But only after all this, does a thought arise saying, I chose this. This does not mean you are weak. It does not mean you lack discipline. And it does not mean you have no responsibility. It simply means that decision-making is more complex than we were taught. Much of it happens beneath conscious awareness. It is shaped by repetition, by conditioning, by survival patterns, by what once protected you. Awareness often becomes the storyteller, not the writer. When people first see this, it can feel unsettling, because if we are not fully in control, then what exactly is the self? Our identity is built around choice. Our pride depends on authorship. Our guilt depends on blame. So questioning control can feel dangerous, like pulling a thread that holds everything together. But something unexpected happens. When you stay with the observation, seeing the process clearly does not remove responsibility. It changes its meaning. Responsibility no longer means forcing yourself to behave. It begins to mean understanding what drives you. Instead of asking, "How do I control this?" a gentler question appears. What keeps repeating in me? And in that question, judgment begins to soften. At some point, a subtle moment appears. It is quiet, so quiet that you might miss it. If you are not paying attention, you notice a reaction before it fully takes over. You notice a preference before it hardens into action. You notice the urge while it is still forming, and instead of immediately becoming it, you observe it just for a moment. In that moment, a small gap appears, not a dramatic pause, not a battle, just space. That space is awareness, not control, not resistance, not suppression, just seeing. And something remarkable happens. That simple seeing begins to loosen old patterns. Reactions lose some urgency. Choices feel less automatic. Life becomes slightly more spacious, not because you took control, but because you brought attention. So are we really in control of our own decisions? The most honest answer is not yes or no. We are influenced far more than we realize. But awareness gives us room to respond differently. Control is limited, but unconsciousness is not required. Freedom does not begin with force. It begins with understanding. You do not need to fight your mind. You do not need to silence your thoughts. You only need to see them clearly. If this question stayed with you, do not rush to answer it. Carry it gently through your day. Watch one small decision as it forms. Notice what appears first. And if you feel drawn to explore this more deeply, stay with this channel. This journey is not about becoming someone else. It is about seeing clearly who you already are.